Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name's Eric Yates. I'm the Chief Advancement Officer here at Williston Northampton School. It's fantastic to have you all here back for Reunion 2026. There's nothing like the energy of this weekend, and we're excited to celebrate some distinguished alumni today. We're pleased to celebrate 5 recipients of awards from the great classes of 1976, 1991, 2001, and 2006. So before we recognize today's Alumni Award recipients, it's my pleasure to get right into it. We're going to welcome Bob Hill, our head of school, and ask him to provide a update on what's going on at the school. Mr. Hill.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming and listening to me once again this weekend. That's a tough order, but honestly, it's great to see all classes represented here, reunioning, and shout out to the 50th again. And very quite naturally, when reunions come together, they're all about the past and reflecting and reminiscing, conjuring up old memories. Sometimes under the tent later at night, it sounds like glory days. But that's all the way it should be. And I want to talk today a little bit about the future and point forward to what is Williston Northampton School looking like in the future, because we know that that's important as well. So we have a new academic center that we've announced. There's a sign posted right out in front of the Zach's admissions building, and that will begin construction in the fall and be opened in the spring of 2028. And it represents a real transformational moment for the school, thanks to this gentleman here, Kevin Hoban. Obviously, you can see by the magnitude of that number. I will just say that $10 million gifts, this is the largest gift in Williston's history by any donor, living or deceased. And a $10 million gift is a big deal for any institution. There are schools that get those and larger gifts, but it's a great big deal. So what this did was it allowed us to dream big and to start to talk about the need that we have for a new academic space on campus. And that's a discussion that actually began 15 years ago when I got to the school, but we did not have the funding lined up to do that. The next slide that I'm showing you shows a view of the campus with, if you can see the dates of the buildings that are on there. And as you know from your own experience here and then at colleges, campuses change over time, and they should change over time, as the world does as well. And either buildings get renovated significantly, or they get knocked down and replaced, or new buildings are added, and then other buildings are repurposed. You can see that the last time a building for academics was constructed at Williston Northampton School, it was 1957, and that was Scott Hall. And for history lovers, that's right around the time of Sputnik. So I would say that we're due, and we've been working hard internally and with our partners outside of the school on where and what to do about this. And what we're looking at when we think of the Williston campus is, what are the best sight lines? What are the best views? And it's pretty clear that the view out towards Ford Hall and out towards Mount Tom and across the pond are iconic views at the school. And so that was all factored in. We also know from our more recent experience and the comprehensive campaign that was concluded a couple of years ago and that resulted in the residential quad, which is behind, as you've seen pictures of, is behind the chapel and was a parking lot at one point, just how important it is to be intentional about spaces, quadrangles, capturing areas of your campus for specific purposes. And it's absolutely the case, because I live backed up on the residential quad, that has been a complete home run. It's consolidated the boarding community of the school. It's safer, it's quieter. The kids are out there all the time, throwing frisbees, playing spike ball. It accomplished exactly what we hoped it would. And our notion is that on this side of the campus, locating the building at the top of the quad, we're going to have an academic-centered quadrangle that will essentially achieve some of the same impact that we saw on the residential side. This is an early representation of the building and its location. And what you can see, it's a significant building. It's about 24,000 square feet in size. Think of the Reed Center or the gym, depending on your generation at the school. It's a building with about that same size footprint. And we know that given this prime location on campus, that it can't be a one-sided building. We've had to be attentive to all four sides of the building. So we know that the face on Park Street is also going to have to look like a inviting space to enter. This is the most recent view we have, and I think what you'll see is on the right side, you'll see an expression of the atrium, which I'll take you into in a little bit, but there's a grand centerpiece of this building is a large atrium that's going to be multi-purpose, and I will talk about that more in a minute. And on this image, imagine yourself standing on the chapel steps and looking back across campus towards Fort Hall. The image of the building, don't pay attention to the color and all that, that's simply a massing. What we're trying to do in this picture is show that when you're at the chapel, you have a wide alleyway image and perspective down towards Reed and Fort Hall and vice versa. I'm sorry I showed that. This slide, excuse me. Thanks. So that's the image from the chapel steps looking back towards Fort Hall. And this is another image of the building from Park Street. And you can see how what's accomplished here is that the quad becomes a completely residential quad, car-free. And I've been talking a lot about this as I get questions over the last 6 months, really. Park Street has become, in my time at the school, my 15 years at the school, a very busy street. So there's constant car traffic on that street. If you are at Fort Hall looking out towards the head's house, you're going to see cars. That's what you're going to see most of the day long. And in fact, with the advent of food delivery, we see the quadrangle turning into, as Mr. Yates likes to call it, a raceway at night as Uber vehicles can sometimes come colliding in there. So we're going to an all-pedestrian quad, which we think is going to have extensive impact on the life of the students at the school. The image here is of that atrium that I was talking about. It's about 3,000 square feet, much larger than any such space we have on campus. Dodge Room is about 1,000 square feet for those of you who think in perspectives that way. And what we intend here is a multi-purpose space where kids will hang out and study during the day, or it can be cleared out and set up for events like this, for instance, if we choose to do that. So it will have sort of 24/7 utility for the school, and it will address a space need that we just have not had. The next series of slides I'm going to show, I'll go through pretty quickly, but they're internal spaces. This is a typical classroom that we're conceiving, and it's about 40%, 30% larger than the classrooms that we're teaching in the schoolhouse right now. To give you a sense, these are 570 square feet. The largest classroom in the schoolhouse is about 430. They are tight quarters to teach in right now, and what we need are spaces that allow our teachers and their pedagogy to move around the room and do adaptive kind of learning situations that are really hard to do in the confines of our schoolhouse. Central is a staircase that will be obviously a congregating point for folks. The math department and the English department will move over. They'll have large common areas to prepare their coursework in. So think of department rooms, and those will be larger than what they're in now. The atrium that I showed you will have an overlook from the second floor, which will also have some congregating space. What we've done from our own research and from going to other schools and speaking with the heads of school, speaking with the academic deans, is it very much is a case of if you build it, they will come. Kids are seeking out spaces to gather and study, have informal conversations. When I go around colleges and observe the kind of breakout spaces that they have, they are always used. And we're trying to achieve some of that in this building as well. So a lot of that is sort of the what we're doing, and here's some of the why. We know that the quality of our academic spaces matters. It matters for our students, it matters for our recruitment of faculty, and for our retention of both. We also know, by the way, that just in the competitive world of prep school admissions, other schools have these spaces. As I was just saying, that the students really will care about the welcoming feeling of this space, and it will draw our community closer together. I hate to be all about competition and peer schools and who's building what and when, but it is a fact that when our families come and visit Williston and apply and are admitted, they're also going to look at Berkshire School or Westminster School or Pomfret School, all of these other wonderful schools that have, in the last 30, 40 years, also augmented their campuses. I mentioned this already. I'll go back to this point here, that really this is about a lot of thinking and intentionality has gone into what can this space accomplish. And thanks to the great generosity of alumni, parents, friends that saw that allowed us to complete the residential quad, we've had a test run, and we know just how impactful space can be to students here at the school and to the whole life of those of us at the school. Finally, I'm going to end talking about academics, because at the end of the day, people choose Williston because of the terrific faculty that are here and the opportunities that they have, kids have to learn and grow. And we've done a couple things that I think are kind of interesting. This is an image from this year with our all-school speaking competition. It's the second annual time we've done it. And the English department came up with the idea, and they start in the classroom level, so 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade English. And every class runs a series of iterative steps of speech competition. Those students are all selected and voted upon until the end. It's like getting voted off the island. There are 4 winners, 1 from each grade. They present to the entire school, and 1 is voted on to have presented the best speech. This year it went to Gabby Kim. She's a 10th grader. She did a terrific job, and it's been I have to say, it's been one of the new things that we're doing academically that kids are now looking forward to. You do it once, and people are like, oh, what's going on? You do it a second time, it starts to gain traction, and the third time, people are really looking forward to it. We've also launched some programs in the summer, and this is the Alaska trip. It's going again this summer, where a group of students join a small, very small research vessel where they do all the work themselves and then get transported to islands and do flora and fauna research, and it's an amazing opportunity for them, and they always come back with some incredible stories. Williston Scholars just celebrated its 15th year, and I can speak from experience of our own with our son, who did a Williston Scholars project here at Williston, which absolutely directed his course of study in college and beyond. It reminds me of the remarks I heard at the Kathleen Robinson Memorial about students who had Spanish here at Williston, and it formed the trajectory of their lives. And of course, all of this is because our students want to matriculate to colleges. And this is a slide of colleges attended by students who just graduated, or will be attending by the students who just graduated. So these are wonderful array of colleges. I think in my 15 years, I would argue that this might have been the strongest year for college placement that I've seen. They're going off to wonderfully selective and broad range of universities and colleges throughout the country. And when I get asked about that, I really say that their students' talents get recognized at the places that they should be recognized. So these kids do amazing things in their time here. They're encouraged. Thanks to wonderful, wonderful faculty who, as I learned today, were many influenced and trained by the wonderful Kathleen Robinson. So there's a quick update of the what and the whys of what we're doing at Williston looking forward. I can honestly say it's never been a more exciting time for me to be able to stand up and share those remarks with you. So now I'd like to move on and to the presentation for while you're all here of the Alumni Awards. We're very happy to recognize 5 recipients. Congratulations to each of you, and I'd like to have Eric Yates come back to present them.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so created in 2015 for the school's 175th anniversary, the Alumni Trailblazer Award is presented to a graduate of the school under the age of 40 who has demonstrated significant professional achievement, contributions to their profession and/or community, and continued promise of success in the future. The 2026 Alumni Trailblazer Award recipient is Jeff Dorman, class of 2006. Jeff is being recognized with the Trailblazer Award for the creativity and drive he has brought to addressing a real and often overlooked need for families facing serious illness. After Williston, where he received the Class of 1942 prize for outstanding service to the school and sportsmanship awards in hockey and cross country, Jeff went on to Hobart and William Smith colleges and later earned his JD MBA from Quinnipiac University. He now works as an in-house corporate attorney and is a founding executive at an AI healthcare company. In 2023, Jeff and his wife Samantha founded the Feeding Families Foundation after their family spent months in hospital during his young daughter's treatment for leukemia over a 2.5-year period. During that time, they saw firsthand how difficult it could be for parents and caregivers to access basic support. While children receive meals as part of their care, caregivers often do not, forcing them to leave the bedside or take on additional stress during an already difficult time. Feeding Families was created to address that gap. Through its Parent Plate program, the organization works with hospitals to provide meals directly to caregivers at no cost, allowing families to stay with their children and focus on what matters most. What began as a pilot effort has expanded to hospitals in multiple states, including Boston Children's Hospital. In 2026, the organization's work was recognized on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. Jeff's also stayed connected to Williston, building his work alongside fellow alumni and maintaining close ties with the community that helped shape him. Through Feeding Families, he's taken a personal experience and turned it into something that is making a tangible difference for families across the country. It is my pleasure to invite Jeff to the podium to accept this honor.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for that introduction, and thank you to the Williston community for this incredible honor. I have to admit, when I learned I was receiving the Alumni Trailblazer Award, my first thought was they might have the wrong person. When I think of trailblazers, I think of people who always knew where they were headed, people with a master plan, people who arrived here at 16 already destined to change the world. That wasn't me. When I arrived at Williston, I was just a kid trying to figure things out. I was trying to keep up academically, trying to earn playing time, trying not to embarrass myself, and if I'm being honest, trying to prove that I belonged here. I grew up as one of 4 kids and spent much of my childhood looking up to my older brother. He had set a pretty high standard, and coming to Williston felt like my chance to step out on my own and discover who I could become. What I found here wasn't a roadmap for my future. What I found was a community, teachers who challenged me, coaches who believed in me, friends who stood beside me. A community that expected me to contribute to something bigger than myself. At the time, I didn't fully appreciate how much that would matter. But as it turns out, life has a way of taking you places you never planned to go. In fact, almost nothing in my life unfolded the way I imagined it would at 16. What Williston gave me was something much more valuable. People, values, a sense of responsibility that I would draw on years later when life became far more complicated. After Williston came college, law school, career as a corporate attorney. If you asked me then whether I'd start a nonprofit, the answer would have been an easy no. But several years ago, my daughter was diagnosed with leukemia. While spending months in hospitals, we noticed something surprisingly simple. The children received meals as part of their care, but the parents often did not. When you're afraid to leave your child's bedside, something basic as finding food becomes a real problem. We did not set out just to build a nonprofit. We saw a problem affecting families in those moments and felt the responsibility to do something about it. The older I get, the less I believe that trailblazing is about having all the answers. Sometimes it's simply being willing to respond when life puts a problem in front of you and refusing to look away. When I look back now, I realize this sense of responsibility traces back to places like this. Williston taught me that community isn't just something you belong to, it's something you build. And maybe the best example of that is how Feeding Families came together. One of the first to help was Julie Fay, whose husband Mike was my hockey coach here. The next two people I called to help build the organization were my classmates, Joe Wold and David Borowski. Another classmate, Dave Fontaine, helped us expand our work into Massachusetts. 20 years later, the Williston community was still showing up. That's when I realized the most important lesson I learned here wasn't about academics or athletics. It was that people matter, relationships matter, community matters. And when difficult moments arrive, as they inevitably do, the people around you can help transform hardship into purpose. So while I'm honored to receive an award called the Trailblazer Award, I don't see this recognition as belonging to one person. I see it as a reflection of all the people who helped shape me along the way. The teachers, coaches, friends, and family members who showed up when it mattered, including many from this community. For that, and for this honor, I'm deeply grateful. Thank you.
The Daniel and Jane Carpenter Award was established in 2006 by Daniel M. Kane, class of '64, in honor of the late Daniel and Jane Carpenter and their commitment to and support of Williston Northampton School, its students, parents, and alumni. This award is given to an active volunteer or volunteers who, through effort and energy, as well as financial contribution, have had a substantial impact on the school. This year, we recognize Megan M. Sullivan, class of 2001, with the Daniel and Jane Carpenter Award. Megan is being recognized for her long-standing commitment to Williston and her steady involvement in the life of the school. Since graduating in 2001, Megan has remained closely connected to Williston. She served on every reunion committee for her class and contributed her time and perspective during 2 terms on the Heads Visiting Council. She stayed involved in ways that are both consistent and hands-on, returning to campus to coach the girls' basketball program for 6 seasons, and more recently hosting a dinner during our inaugural Women of Williston Leadership Summit. She is also a member of the Elm Tree Society. Outside of Williston, Megan has had a strong and lasting presence in the local community. As the longtime owner of her family business and Northampton landmark, Joe's Cafe, she has created a place where people gather, connect, and feel a sense of community while enjoying some of the best pizza in the valley. As I heard one person describe it, Joe's is the living room of Northampton. She's also supported a wide range of local nonprofits and youth programs, often through both direct involvement and financial support. In 2023, Megan founded Katie's Fund in honor of her friend Katie Lyons, The fund supports teens and young adults affected by foster care and helps provide access to opportunities and resources. She's also involved with organizations such as the People's Institute of Northampton and Girls on the Run. And earlier this year, Megan was named the 2026 Northampton St. Patrick's Day Parade Marshal, recognizing her contributions to the community. She approaches all of this work in a straightforward and generous way. As she has said, Williston taught her the mantra, do good well, a mindset that comes through clearly in her long and steady commitment to both Williston and the broader community. It's my pleasure to welcome Megan to the podium to accept this honor.
Thank you, Eric, for that very nice introduction. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. And Bob, thank you for the wonderful, comprehensive view of campus and its future. I think everybody here would agree how wonderful things are looking on campus, and the future looks amazing. I'm really excited about that academic building. Jeff, congratulations. That's so inspirational, everything you've done. So unfortunately, I did not know the Carpenters, but everybody who I mentioned their name to upon hearing I received this award, they just sound like amazing people. Their spirit and generosity really seem like it represents everything Williston is all about. So I am very humbled to be here on their behalf. So thank you. I joke that this award is kind of like the Can't Say No award. Pretty much Williston asks me for something and I say, sure. But in all seriousness, I do think it is an acknowledgement of my presence here on campus as an alum for the past 25 years, which is crazy to think. Which is really something that Williston taught me, just the idea of being present and active and supportive for your community. I think it was a purposeful thing that they taught us here, but also the faculty. I think I learned it from their support and constant presence. Even as an alum now, I constantly hear from a number of faculty members. They come into the restaurant, they come to support. So that's really something that I've taken seriously. This idea of being present, I have tried to carry that into my role as a business owner. It probably drives my staff crazy, but I really try to be present at the business, and hopefully that trickles down onto them to let us be a successful institution, as well as a community. I know it's important to have fiscal support, but I try to be active and present rather than just writing a check. I think it's important for the future and leading by example. And sorry, I am not a good public speaker. So hopefully somebody sees me active and helping out, and hopefully that will inspire others to do so. So thank you, Bob. Much appreciation. Thank you.
The Founders Award was created by the merger of the Whitaker Bement Award and the Samuel and Emily Williston Award to honor the founders and principals of the Northampton School for Girls and Williston Academy. It is awarded to an individual whose loyalty, devotion, and service to Williston Northampton School has been outstanding. This year's Founders Award honors Melissa Anderson Duffy, class of 1991. Melissa exemplifies the spirit of the Founders Award through her long-standing commitment to Williston Northampton School as an alumna, parent, and active member of the school community. Since her graduation in 1991, she's remained closely engaged with Williston, contributing her time, perspective, and support in ways that strengthen the school's mission. Melissa currently serves on the Heads Visiting Council and has also been an active member of her reunion committee. In 2023, she returned to campus as the Elm Tree Society speaker during reunion, sharing insights on planned giving with fellow alumni. She's further supported the school through her involvement in alumni networking programs for current seniors as part of our Core 12 curriculum. Melissa's connection to Williston reflects both continuity and a multi-generational perspective. As a student, she was a dorm proctor, a 3-sport captain, and actively involved in campus life. Today, she has had the opportunity to see her daughters follow their own paths at Williston. Tegan, class of 2024, is now a student at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and Maggie, class of 2027, will be a senior at Williston next fall, giving her a firsthand view of the school's impact across generations. Professionally, Melissa is a senior partner at White Pine Wealth Management, where she leads a team and stewards more than $1 billion in client assets. With more than 25 years in financial services, she's known for her steady, thoughtful approach and her focus on long-term relationships. Across her work and her continued involvement with Williston, Melissa brings a consistent commitment to showing up, contributing, and staying connected to the school and its community. It's my pleasure to welcome Melissa to the podium to accept this honor.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here, and thank you very much for the kind comments, Eric. It's great to have everybody here for reunion. It's my 35th this year, and it's great to see some new faces, meet some new people. I actually met, I believe, the daughter of Dan Carpenter. She was a faculty brat. Jennifer, is she in here now? There, so we met outside, yes. So quick story, we met outside of the dining room, and we connected because, and I'm sorry, Jennifer, I didn't catch your husband's name, but he went to the same high school as my mom. Like, what are the odds? Brick Township, New Jersey, so there you go. Thank you again for this honor. It's really humbling, and I've really just thoroughly enjoyed reconnecting with Williston. I do have some people I want to thank. I want to thank Bob Hill for your leadership and your genuine love for the school. The students, just the vibe, as my kids would say, it runs through everything, and we were talking about it at dinner last night, and thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I also want to thank Dell, Allie, Rachel, Eric, and Nicole, and everyone in the advancement office. You are the reason this community stays connected and why this weekend comes together the way it does. And also, I just want to acknowledge my daughters. Maggie and Tegan are both here today. They made the trip. Maggie just left, so to have her back on campus was a win for me, so thanks, girls, for being here. I've been on the visiting council for 3 years now, and when people ask me about that role, I tell them that we are Williston's alumni ambassadors. We've had the opportunity to weigh in on things like alumni engagement, the role of artificial intelligence in the modern classroom, school finances, and even the plans for the new building that will break ground later this fall. Bob, thanks for the visuals, I love it. I'm just really glad to be at the table for these discussions, and it's just given me a real insight into what happens behind the curtains here, and it's just amazing. So when I think about Williston and my time here, it was amazing. I really look back on it very fondly, living at Conant House, and I was thinking about the other day, I got to ski at Mount Tom 6 days a week in the wintertime. I will never match that again. It's just, I didn't realize how good I had it. Taking photography classes with Mr. Couch, the beautiful afternoons up at Galbraith Field during field hockey practice. You know, it's just, the nostalgia really hits you when you come back to campus. But this really pales in comparison to watching my children grow into themselves here. Williston's faculty and coaches have given my daughters a green light to take risks, and then they mentor them. giving them the confidence and the encouragement to explore. And most important, permission to reassess and do something entirely different than they had planned. Thank you for the tireless passion you have for my girls and all students, honestly. I see and hear about the growth and learning of my daughters and other people's children through the many declarations and small wins that come over the course of every year. Things like this: Mom, I rocked the test. Mom, the timed run wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Or Mom, I got an A on the essay. And then the following year, Mom, I'm gonna be a proctor this year. Mom, I'm managing the field hockey team. Mom, I'm working in the admissions office. And then finally, during senior year, Mom, they picked my design for the class flag. Or, I got to create the daily email, or I get to create the daily email next year, Maggie. Or, I'm the editor of the Willistonian. There's just this stacking of rigor that happens, and these achievements, these little wins that just build into this beautiful experience of Williston. And in talking to other parents, these experiences are not unique to me and my daughters. This is the Williston student experience. Exploring, shifting, and trying new things. This is what learning is all about. And between the HVC, coming back to reunions and seeing my daughters on campus, I just couldn't be more proud to be part of this community. So thank you so much for this honor. I really appreciate it.
Created in 2015 to honor the school's 175th anniversary, the Williston Northampton Medal is presented to an individual who has made significant achievements and contributions to their profession and/or their community, shown a commitment to professional growth, or is recognized for leadership in their field. Their contributions represent important creative effort or accomplishment with professional, societal, or educational value. This year's recipient is Paula Monopoly, class of 1976. Paula has built a distinguished career as an internationally recognized legal scholar and educator whose work has shaped national conversations on gender, inheritance law, and constitutional design. She is a chaired professor at the University of Maryland Francis King Carey School of Law, where she has taught and mentored students for many years and now serves as a distinguished university professor. Her scholarship focuses on gender and constitutional structure, as well as trusts and estates. After graduating from Williston, Paula went on to Yale, where she earned her degree in political science, and later to the University of Virginia School of Law. Over the course of her career, she has been recognized for both her scholarship and her teaching. Paula is the author and editor of several books, including 2020's Constitutional Orphan, Gender Equality and the 19th Amendment, and her work has appeared in leading law journals. Her writing has helped shape thinking around gender equality and constitutional interpretation, bringing historical insight to contemporary legal debates. In addition to her scholarship, Paula founded the Women Leadership and Equality Program at Maryland Carey Law, the first law school women's fellowship program of its kind, focused on preparing the next generation of women leaders in the legal profession. She's also remained closely connected to Williston. Paula and her brother Rich, class of 1989, both serve as trustees, continuing a family connection that includes her brother Dan, class of 92, and niece Allie Lewis, class of 2014. She's returned to campus as a convocation speaker and more recently as the keynote speaker for last year's Northampton School for Girls Centennial Celebration. Paula has built a career of influence in her field while maintaining a strong connection to the Williston community, and for that we're very grateful. We're delighted to recognize Paula Monopoly's achievements today, and I ask Paula to join us on the stage to receive the Williston Northampton Medal.
Well, it's great to see everybody here, and I want to just say that I'm very, very honored to receive the Williston Northampton Medal. And I'd like to thank Bob Hill, I'd like to thank Eric and his team, and Williston itself for this award. As I look back with some perspective, I can now see how Williston shaped my story. And I think that that's an important part of thinking about and reflecting on 50 years since I was here. I went into academia and I became a tenured professor who writes books about women's constitutional history. And I attribute much of that outcome to those women of Williston who modeled academic excellence, like Karen O'Neill. Her liberty and law class sparked my deep interest in law and in the Constitution. And that interest has provided me with wonderful intellectual challenges ever since. I also owe much to Kathleen Robinson, who demonstrated to those of us on the Willistonian staff how important clear, cogent writing was to persuading our readers. And the art of how to persuade a judge, a jury, a legislature is the central skill I teach my law students as I hone their ability to make arguments. And I'm also very grateful to my family, to my brother Rich, who's on the board and persuaded me to join the board, because it's been a real privilege to help guide this very special place. I'm very, very grateful to my mom, who passed away last summer, for encouraging me to come to Williston in the first place. And also to my father, who was a professor, and he taught me the value of generating and disseminating knowledge, and I've had the privilege of pursuing that mission as an academic, and it's been a really wonderful professional journey. I'm grateful to my husband and my 4 children who supported me in that academic journey as well. Now finally, as we commemorate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, from my perspective, it's never been more important to elevate women's constitutional history and to educate Americans about women's role and influence on our constitutional development. And my calling to do that important work began right here in this place at Williston. So thank you.
The Distinguished Service Award is the Preeminent Service Award, which the school bestows upon members of our community. Since its inception in 1959, the Distinguished Service Award has been given to individuals who have shown, through their actions, an exceptional measure of devotion to Williston Northampton School. This year's recipient is John Hazen White, Jr., class of 1976. John is being recognized for his long-standing leadership and deep commitment to Williston Northampton School. A member of the 50th reunion class of 1976, John has served on the Board of Trustees since 2004 and has been chair of our board since 2016. In that role, he has helped guide the school through an important period of growth and change, working closely with school leadership to strengthen Williston's programs, facilities, and our long-term direction. Bob Hill and I have had the opportunity to work closely with John over the years, so we know firsthand the kind of genuine leader and person he is. He brings both clarity and care to his role as board chair, someone who can take on complex challenges and always get to the heart of what matters most, while never losing sight of the people involved. I often think about John as leading with love, truly, in the best sense possible. During his time as chair, John has played a central role in several major initiatives, including the Williston Builds campaign and significant investments in the student experience. One visible example is our John Hazen White House, which opened on our new residential quad in 2018 and continues to serve students and faculty families. These efforts reflect his focus on making sure the school continues to evolve while staying true to its core values. Outside of Williston, John is the executive chairman of Taco Comfort Solutions, a family-owned company based in Rhode Island with a global reach. But what stands out most is the way John shows up for this community. When he's on campus, he makes a point to connect with students, faculty, and staff, approaching every conversation with genuine interest and respect. It's clear how much this place means to him, and that sense of connection is something people feel. His love for this school and this place is truly contagious, and as someone who works with alumni, truly inspiring and energizing. Before we invite John to speak, I'd like to ask Bob to come back to the podium to recognize him and share a few additional remarks. Bob?
Thanks, Eric. I can't add too much to that wonderful commentary you gave about John Hazen White, except for this. I've been the headmaster of Williston Northampton School for 16 years, and 11 of those years I've been absolutely fortunate enough to have John Hazen White Jr. serve as the chair of the Board of Trustees. And so I work very, very closely with him. And it's been actually one of the great joys of my life that I've discovered this close relationship professionally, but even more a deep friendship. And as I've thought about this whole weekend in different ways, and the year that we've just had, in fact, one of the topics that we're talking a lot about at schools is the incredible disruption brought about by artificial intelligence. Just the name itself gives me the shivers. And the antidote to that, and I'm a person who believes there needs to be an antidote, is deep human connection, deep human connection. And that's a theme I've heard over and over again from you all this weekend. I heard it loudly this morning at the memorial service, but I've heard it every time in small conversations. We just heard it here from every speaker today. Deep human connections. No one does that better than John Hazen White. He is all about, as Eric said, leading with love, but deep human connections. And it's our ability to propel those forward that I think will really matter for all educational institutions. I can't wait to talk more to Paula about this because she's an expert. John's love is magnanimous, and it's also humble. And I'm going to give a quick story and then ask John to come up. And the humility is here. As I mentioned yesterday evening, John just pledged $5 million to this building effort. And he did that because he loves the school. He did that because he actually also very much loves Kevin Hoban, and he wanted Kevin's dream to come true. And the thing that John talked to me and Eric about, because we were all about, okay, well, how do we announce this and where do we say it? John said, however you do that, just make sure it doesn't take anything away from Kevin. And so that was what he was concerned about. We have our other concerns. But Johnny, you have done so much for Williston Northampton School. Your leadership is absolutely something that can't be compared, and we love you back as much as we know you love this school. So come on up.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning, everybody. It's really great to be here and be able to share this time for such a special moment for so many. And congratulations to all of you that have received these awards. They're so significant just for the fact that they draw on presence, as you mentioned, and being present is just so valuable and so full of good. And for me to hear these words from Bob, I don't become short of words often, but I must say I am now. Also, I forgot I was supposed to speak at this, so watch me try. I ended up here, I think, as an example of how everything happens for a reason. I wasn't supposed to, but I did. Kind of talked my way in, I guess, and fought my way through. And the blessings that came out of this time were immeasurable. But the most important is, and I went on from here to the College of Worcester in Ohio, and I majored in English. I was trying to be a writer. So I never went to business school, ever, actually. And yet I've had a good business career, and quite successful, I guess. And although I do remember that the year of the John Hazen White house being built was 2018. I was not doing so well then. I was kind of broke, actually. So I'm just wondering about what's going to happen this year with the new building. But, keep an eye on me, Bob. But having come here and fought my way through, I had the great experience of being in a place that permitted trying. And it didn't really focus on failure. In fact, it focused on support. And so I think so many of us came out of here with an ability to try and to do, and to not fear the potential of failure, but to see the potential for success. And success sometimes comes from just plain faith. I live believing in the word hope. My mother gave me that blessing. Her name, by the way, interesting, my mother's name was Happy. And she was all of that. And she was really my best friend. As a little boy, I was born 10 years later than my next sibling, which is a sister. Which I have 4 sisters. I had a tough life, particularly after I got out of the house. But my mother was really my best friend. My second grade, I think, teacher called me up one day on a Friday. Do you remember when we had show and tells in our elementary school? And she called me up one day and she said, Johnny is my show and tell. And my class looked at me and I looked at them. I had no idea. She said, she put her hand on my head and she said, Johnny is an accident. So I looked at my friends and they looked at me and I said, I have no idea. So I went home and I said, Mommy, what did she mean when she said I was an accident? And my mother, Happy, said, oh, dearie, she said, what she meant was you were my special little package. And I never really forgot that. Kind of stuck with me. And so I think through life, we were dealt the chance to try, to succeed, to fail, but to always learn, always embrace and move forward. And this school is where I was given that knowledge. And you know, there's lots of people to thank for this. And I would thank Bob and Eric for the partnership we've had developing and helping see the school grow and develop. And it's been wonderful. And of course, my family. My two boys who have been integral in my life and development because they always supported me. But you know, as I look back, one of the most meaningful groups of people in my life were my class here, who 50 years later, as I said last night to a group of people, well, it's like 50 years ago somebody hit the pause button. My very best friend told me yesterday. And she said, today, meaning yesterday, somebody hit the arrow. And it's like we never stopped. And the love and the friendship we've had exists to this day. What a blessing this place is for all of us. And hopefully, Bobby Hill, with this building, with the things we're going to do, will bring a whole lot more people to a great life and a great chance, great opportunity to succeed, and a great opportunity to love one another. Thank you so very much for this honor. God bless you.
Thank you all for supporting our recipients by joining us today. I want to wish everybody a thank you for a great time this afternoon. Have a wonderful evening. Reminder, just logistics, that we have our Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony back here in this space at 1:30 p.m. And we ask all alumni award recipients and their families to just stay or come to the front, and they'll have their professional photos taken with, and Dell will be around. So thank you all for coming. We are so appreciative. Thank you.